Hey, everyone. Welcome back to the Whispers of the Darkness. Get ready for a shift like no other as we dive into the spine-chilling encounters of an EMT. Working at what might just be the most haunted ambulance station, it's a night full of unexplained phenomena that will keep you on the edge of your seat. I work as an EMT for an ambulance company. EMS has always been full of superstitions, and most of us believe in the supernatural, on account of all the crazy, gruesome stuff we get to see on any given shift. Every company, every EMT, every firefighter has a story about a station that is haunted or something that happened to them, that can only be explained as paranormal. For the company I work at, we have about 5 stations, each with its own stories. Only 1 or 2 are truly scary stories, though. Mostly things like employees seeing shadows out of the corner of their eyes, getting uneasy feelings in the stations, or hearing an unexplained knock, voice, or being hissed or growled at, occasionally. This station I worked at was no different. The station I work at is our main station, meaning that is where we keep all of our extra supplies. So, it's not uncommon for various crews to be going in and out of the station at all hours of the day. It was common knowledge that the ambulance bay was creepy at night, and people reported hearing voices, footsteps, or ambulance doors opening and closing out of the garage. Now I've worked at this station for 2 years, and I've heard these things. But it's always been easy to dismiss this as my partner doing something out in the bay, or another crew doing some late-night resupply. The only experience I've had there that I couldn't explain was that I was distinctly growled at in the garage late at night. At the time, I quickly realized that the only person in the bay was me, and I certainly didn't growl at myself, so I quickly left. That was all I ever experienced there, and for the most part, felt very comfortable at that station until last night. The station is small and consists of a living room, with a kitchen attached to a hallway. This hallway led to the garage on one side, the bathroom on the other, and at the end of the hallway is a door leading to the junior's bedroom, which you can then walk through to get to the senior's bedroom. If you go into the garage, there's a staircase that leads into the attic that stretches above the entire living quarters. I, the junior, and my partner senior are dead asleep in our respective bedrooms. The door was closed when I'm awoken to all these loud banging noises and the wall shaking. I realize that this banging isn't just banging but actually running. Something heavy, huge, and fast is stomping and running around in the attic upstairs. It's stomping and running so loud, it is quite literally shaking the walls. Whatever it was must have been huge to be making sounds this loud. Then it gets faster. It's so fast and loud. It's running across the entire length of the attic. It is moving faster than anything could move. This stomping is happening one right after another. It almost sounded like there were 10 people up there, or a creature with too many legs running right above my head. It's so fast. It's too fast. I'm sitting up right in bed now, huddled in the corner of the bedroom, absolutely horrified. I get this deep visceral primal feeling of dread, almost like what prey feels like when they're being hunted. Suddenly, it's as if a thought from somewhere else is placed into my mind, and I just know with every fiber of my being that it knows that I'm awake, and that it knows I know it's there, like a sick twisted version of that Spider-Man meme. In between the stomping and running, I can hear barking, whining sounds. It's hard to describe, like a grump mixed with the sound of the wind. It's making the sound as it runs. I realize that it's moving so fast I can hear the wind it's creating, swooshing and whipping around as it grunts and runs. So, now I very silently get up and walk over to the senior's bedroom and try to open the door. But it's been locked. I feel as though I can't make a noise or it will come through the station and kill me. I'm quietly knocking on the door, crying, pleading for my partner to let me in. I'm thinking this is so loud. There's no way she's asleep. But she is, she's out cold, and I don't get a response. I decide that my partner had the right idea, and I crept over to the junior's bedroom, separating from my bedroom from the hallway that leads to the garage and the rest of the station, and locked the door. So, I silently creep back over to my corner of the bed and with my blankets, begin to text her. It's 1:45, and I'm begging her to wake up over text and describing what I'm hearing. She's not answering, so I text her fiancé and ask him to call her and wake her up. But he's not answering either. At this point, I decide to text my mom. As I'm sitting there, I get a familiar feeling, an intense dread, a stark realization of pure truth. It doesn't even feel like my thought. More like a piece of truth was just slipped to me by the universe. The thing upstairs isn't human. I'm explaining to my mom what I'm hearing. All these loud swooshing wind sounds and stomping and running. Then I hear it run down the stairs. When I tell you my heart stopped, and my soul left my body when I heard it coming down the stairs, my stomach dropped to my ass. And I was nauseous. I genuinely thought I was going to die. I was waiting for it to start pounding on the door. And I have never been more thankful in my life, because I thought to have locked it earlier. I was waiting for screaming, or the door to start shaking or something, but it never came. It ran impossibly fast and headed back up the stairs. Down the stairs, up the stairs, across the attic, down the attic, above my head, and circles. Down the stairs, up the stairs, all over. Now I am absolutely hysterical on the phone with my mom. No one ever prepared me for dealing with being haunted or taunted by an entity. My mom is trying to calm me down. She asks, "What do you want me to do?" I didn't know. I don't know what she can do. I don't know what to do. I just whisper, "I don't know what to do. Just please don't hang up." She tells me to bang on my partner's door to wake her up, and I do. My partner wakes up and hears the rustling in her bedroom. And she goes, "Yeah," in a dismissive voice, and slowly walks over to the door and opens it. I literally shoved her back in the room, whipped around faster than I've ever moved in my life, closed the door, unlocked it. I explained everything to her, everything I heard. The activity was dying down now, but it was still active enough for her to hear the running. At 2:45 a.m., another crew would get here at 3 o'clock. So we got to our station to put their truck away and clock out to go home. Me and my partner huddled together, glued to each other's hips, hurried outside to meet with them out in the building parking lot. It's only at this point that we realized that a completely separate crew from around 11 p.m. that night had not only left our truck full of medical equipment and drugs unlocked out in the parking lot in an area known for being not so great, but also left our garage door open, literally giving anyone access to our entire station. Me and my partner are terrified and aren't willing to go back into the station at this point. The crew that's getting off at 3 o'clock goes into the station to clock out, and when they come back, they see us hanging out in our truck. They joke with us for a minute over the ghost and make fun of us for sleeping in the truck. For the rest of the shift, we ask them if they've ever heard anything, to which the senior on that crew, who has been there for a long time and staunchly believes in the supernatural, says, "Yeah, it definitely sounds like there's someone walking up there, but he's harmless." Me and my partner are just like, harmless. That thing's not harmless. They leave. And we decide to call for PD to make sure it wasn't some crackhead that had gotten in. While the garage door had been left open, PD gets there and searches very thoroughly, and found no evidence of anyone being there. It's 4 o'clock a.m. We notify our dispatch the station was cleared to be safe by PD, and together we venture back inside. We elected to keep the truck in the parking lot, so that we wouldn't have to go back to the garage if we got a call or needed to make a quick escape. Together, we huddled in the living room with all the lights on until we got off at 7 o'clock a.m. I had a few minor bumps and bangs, but nothing crazy. Things that could be dismissed as house noises and whatnot, but I barely slept, and I'm not looking forward to going back there later this week. After a few days, the activity was nowhere near as crazy as what happened last time, but there was some activity. Most of the shift was perfectly fine. We were busy and out of the station most of the day, and a few times through the night. However, while we were in the station, there was some tension. The air was thick with our own anxiety. And I'm sure this is what caused what I'm about to tell you. For some context, out in the bay, there is a cage. Literally a large metal cage that runs along the back of the garage. And it is where we keep all of our resupply. The door to the cage is supposed to be perpetually locked. This is to prevent crews from going in and messing up company inventory. The only people with keys to the cage are the supervisors, who don't come in until around 7 o'clock a.m. I was laying in bed, half awake, half asleep, staring at the ceiling when I heard what sounded like the cage door being intensely rattled by something. It didn't sound like someone was trying to open it. It sounded like someone grabbed a hold of the door and just started shaking it violently. This went on for about a minute. I went to my partner's bedroom to see if she heard it and found that she slept right through it. We sat there for about half an hour, listening for it, and nothing. At 5:30, I can hear distinct footsteps up in the attic. Nothing crazy like the insane marathon running from the other day, but quiet footsteps nonetheless. My partner says she can't hear them, so I just go back to my room. At 6:30, I can still hear an occasional footstep up there, and to be clear, no one goes up there because it's creepy. And there's nothing up there, just some old boxes and an extremely dark attic space. Because I was only hearing footsteps, I decided to go out to the garage and investigate. When I get into the garage, the footsteps stop. There was no one in there. When I went over to the cage to try and recreate the noise I heard, I found the door was open. I'm not totally convinced that it was just a person opening the cage a bit aggressively. The only problem is that I have no idea who it would be. Because, as I said, there are only a few people who have a key to the cage, and none of them were here, and they don't have to get here for a few more hours. I went back inside, and I could hear the footsteps upstairs and now what sounded like in the garage. I tried to record them, but they were too faint to pick up on video. I also want to point out that the crew we met outside the other day was making fun of us for hanging out in the truck. He had made comments about how he likes to do resupply and slam the cage door. Though I guess today he just wanted to rattle it. I'm not totally convinced what happened today was a ghost and not a person, but I'm also not totally convinced that it was a person and not a ghost. Thanks for joining me on this eerie adventure. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and share your thoughts in the comments below. Stay curious, keep exploring, and I'll catch you in the next spooky exploration. Until then, stay weird.